So, I mean, this is obviously Gordon Brown, who we can't shut up at the moment, a bit like Tony Blair, his former colleague, always have an opinion on everything, don't they? So where do you stand on how? Does this make sense to renationalise energy companies?
Well, every ounce of my being is totally anti that. I want to keep it privatised completely. The only thing is, I'm with Christine Hamilton, which she said to you earlier. We need to be tougher and scrutinise. Where has Ofwat and Ofgem, where have these bodies been in terms of actually protecting consumers? And that's the thing. We've got an essential resource, masses of essential resources being controlled by people that seem to be clueless in terms of managing a company. But I have to say to you now, if we went nationalised, if civil servants took over, I'm afraid it would be in a worse state than we are now.
That's a very fair point, actually. Yeah, that doesn't bear thinking about. So what should the government be doing then? What should they do to help us all?
Well, obviously, my main issue here is with petrol and diesel prices at the pumps, as we've discussed this before. And what I'm calling for is another body, a proper body we call Pump Watch, will actually to stop opportunistic profiteering. And that's why we've got to really put some rules, some legislation in place that makes these companies invest in our future energy self-sufficiency and security. That's the sort of thing they should be doing. And that's the only way they should interfere. And if they don't meet those particular targets of actually making us self-sufficient and secure for the future, then they should be punished very much in the pocket. And that's the way to move this forward. But let these private businesses compete properly, and hopefully competition will keep prices down. I know that's easy to say now, but hopefully that's what will happen in the future.
Because, I mean, Liz Truss last night at one of the hustings, I think we're only halfway through, she did say she didn't think profit was a dirty word. But, I mean, it is the fact that these oil companies, in particular the oil companies, not the energy suppliers themselves, but the oil suppliers like Shell and BP, are recording multi-billion-pound profits. I mean, surely this is the issues we need to be tackling. And how do you feel about what Liz Truss said last night?
Well, I'm pro-profit, but I'm not pro-profiteering. And that's the thing that's happening at the moment in the fuel supply chain. These oil companies are making gargantuan profits on a lucky increase in oil prices. It's nothing to do with their business acumen, their business skills whatsoever. And, wouldn't you like to have a business that, someone just throws a load of money at you? You haven't done any work for it, but you're getting rich on it. And that's what's happening with these oil companies. And that's why we need these bodies like Pump Watch. I'm backed by and supported by a lot of backbench Tory MPs. And I understand Liz Truss is actually supporting this push for Pump Watch too. What we need is actually some really consensus here right across all parties that actually control this profiteering, but allow them to actually profit so they can invest in making us self-sufficient for the future.
But that's not that doesn't seem to be what they're doing, does it, Howard? I mean, rather than, reinvesting for the future, in particular with the energy suppliers, with the fuel bills we are all facing, they seem to be just handing it out to their shareholders instead.
Well, that's right. And they even handed it out to their shareholders when the profits were bad for them. So it's a win-win-win for them. But we've got to get some legislation in place where we scrutinise the whole process of pricing our energy, pricing our petrol, pricing our diesel. When oil goes up, when we go to the pumps, we have no idea a week or two later what that we will be paying when we're filling up our cars and our trucks. I'm backed by the Road Haulage Association, and their members, truckers, 50% of their costs are fuel at the moment, of which half is tax. So those are the sorts of things we can control. Right at the moment, right now, I'm calling on the government to cut fuel duty by 25p, as they've done in Germany. And guess what? That cut in Germany of 25p has reduced their inflation by half a percentage point. Why are we not doing that here?